Internet news with no filter. Welcome to News Sesh. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're diving into a really important topic: when social media influencers turn personal tragedy into content. We're looking specifically at the couple Matt and Abby Howard, what they're doing, how people are reacting, and what this tells us about the influencer economy. If you care about media literacy, authenticity online, or just want to understand how the influencer world works behind the scenes, stick around. First, who are Matt and Abby? They're a married couple who built a large social media following by sharing their life, parenting, faith, lifestyle, etc. They've become well known in the family influencer niche. Recently, they shared a deeply personal story. They lost a baby daughter at around 17 weeks of pregnancy. This kind of tragic announcement understandably generates sympathy, attention, and media coverage. Here's where things become controversial. Some critics say that Matt and Abby are capitalizing on this tragedy, meaning turning it into content, monetization, exposure, rather than purely grieving in private. On the Reddit forum, Matt and Abby Snarks, one user wrote, "I really hope Matt doesn't make this about him and make a ton of content out of it. This was Abby's body that went through the unimaginable." And others are pointing to their announcement, media deals, and question whether the boundary between genuine vulnerability and business strategy is being blurred. To understand this, we need to look at how influencer economics work. For family-style influencers, audience trust is their currency. When they share personal hardship, it can boost engagement, visibility, and, yes, brand deals. Tragedy becomes a kind of content pivot point, from everyday lifestyle to real-life challenge/raw moment. That change often drives higher views, more comments, and a surge in algorithmic reach. That's not to say every influencer is cynical. Many genuinely suffer, but when you've built an audience around your personal life, anything deeply personal becomes content by default. So, what are the ethical questions here? When is sharing personal grief appropriate, and when does it become exploitative? What responsibility do influencers have to their audiences when monetization is involved? For viewers, how much authenticity is real, and how much is part of a strategy? Public reaction to Matt and Abby's case is mixed. Some express sympathy. Others express skepticism, pointing to past controversies. For example, accusations about how they managed parenting content on a cruise ship. The central tension: empathy versus commercialization. Here's my perspective. I believe influencers should have the freedom to share their lives, including suffering. If done with openness, honesty, and without hiding behind marketing, it can be powerful and healing. But once monetization, media deals, or brand synergy start guiding the narrative, the lines get fuzzy. Viewers should be aware, when you subscribe to the lifestyle influencer model, you are also part of a content economy. Your emotional responses are tracked, analyzed, commodified. In Matt and Abby's case, whether or not the intentions are fully pure, someone who built tens of millions of followers isn't exempt from scrutiny. And we as the audience should pause. Am I watching a genuine story, or am I being fed a narrative that benefits someone's brand? Let's pause and zoom in on a specific episode of the Dad Challenge podcast. Hey Josh, love your content. Josh takes aim at family vloggers and influencer parent content. The podcast has built a following by exposing cases where children appear to be featured in content in exploitative or unhealthy ways. In this particular episode, the narrative revolves around a popular family vlogging channel and the way the kids are filmed, the dynamic of monetization, and the parent's role. He takes a fairly critical stance, not simply pointing out genuine concerns, but also calling out the influencer game, the content economy, and how tragedy, shock, or emotional moments become instant content. This fits right into our theme, when tragedy isn't just lived, but filmed, edited, posted, and monetized. What's interesting here is how the Dad Challenge podcast frames the discussion. It's not just about empathy for children or families. It's a blend of commentary, critique, and entertainment. So it raises a further question for us. When commentary about influencers becomes content in its own right, does the cycle just continue? Is this victim exposure versus creator exposure loop now so baked into the influencer ecosystem that even critique becomes part of the game?
And instead, he's pushing her to put the grief out and the tears out because it's going to get them more clicks and views. This guy, man. Matt, I hope karma comes one day and kicks you right square in the taint. Just right in the taint. Your kids are going to watch this shit one day, Matt, especially when you're divorced after this, and Abby is going to wake up one day, if it's already happening. It's going to wake up one day and be like, what the hell are we doing here? And you are going to be divorced, and you're going to have a broken family, and your kids are going to hate you because you're the most self-absorbed asshole I have ever seen. Dads aren't supposed to be like that, Matt. Okay? You're not supposed to be the one that's all self-care and me, I, me. Oh no, my birthday falls on Father's Day. Oh my God, you guys. No, because...
The first thing I wrote down in preparation to talk about this publicly, the first thing I could think of was to write down was I just wrote the sentence, I'm so proud of myself. Because in this time, from the minute we found out the news, I have leaned into the grief. I have leaned into
then he puts his hand on her leg and stuff. It's so performative. Matt, you're you know that you're performative. We know that these people aren't actually, they don't like each other. It makes it worse, Matt. It'd be better if she sat in that chair on the other side and you sat over there, because you make this worse. You are making it performative just amplifies how shitty you are.
Every emotion that I've felt, I have not used any crutch to numb or avoid this, which I totally understand why people would in this situation, but it was really important to me to feel everything and walk through everything and even be proactive in this grieving journey as much
as part of that going on People magazine
as I could, and I'm proud of myself for that. The first step in that was honestly just deleting social media, because I think it's really easy to scroll and use social media as a Xanax.
When she says delete it, she just means she takes off her phone so she can't access it, and then she'll download it again. So
and
she is not going to delete her monetized social media. They make millions of dollars. Okay, stop. I hate that she says that. What she does is she takes a pause from it and she takes it away from her ability to click it on the screen. That's it.
And just numb myself out. And there's several ways you can numb yourself. You can numb yourself with busyness, or trying to just keep going and keep muscling through things and just distracting yourself. Obviously,
you mark my words, they're going to have Emily Kaiser on their podcast.
You could use substances. You could do so many things to numb out, and I can say that I have not done that, and it has been really healing. I know that I have a long ways to go, but this time I've spent off social media, off of my regular schedule, not working, all this stuff.
Abby, you don't work. Stop saying off of work. You don't work. I mean, of the two of you, Matt puts out the cameras, Matt does the editing. You don't work, Abby. You literally go out for coffees into the gym 3 hours a day. Your parents watch your children. You don't have a job. You don't even work in this podcast. You just sit, and then Matt does all the work. That's probably the agreement you had in place anyway, and I respect it, but you don't even go here. All you do is sit and talk, and then Matt does the rest, because that's the agreement you have. Okay, I'll do this, but I'm not doing any of that. Matt, you have to put all the work in. That's what it is. And fine, Matt deserves that. He's a prick, but don't say that you work. You can talk about grief and everything, but I wish influencers would stop being like, see, we're just like you guys. You're nothing like regular people. Do you understand me? Influencers out there being like, I posted this with the Kardashians. They went to the grocery store and they didn't even know how to use a debit card. And they're the first time they ever went grocery shopping for themselves. It's look, we're regular plebs. I wish influencers and rich people would shut up. Okay, shut your damn mouths. You are the worst of society. You are a shit stain on society when you do that, okay? Yeah, you might be rich. You might think you're better than us, but you're actually worse than everybody else. You're actually a shit stain. I need you to know that you're terrible, okay? No amount of money will bring you class, okay? Stay humble. Some of the best people on earth and some of the richest people on earth are the most humble, and you wouldn't even know it. Humility breeds humanity. The people with the most humility are the most liked by society.
From a creator perspective, if you're doing this kind of commentary, you're still benefiting from views, engagement, shares. For the audience, You're watching a call-out show whose motive is partly to drive its own engagement. So again, we're back to the blurred lines between authenticity, critique, entertainment, and commerce. In short, the Dad Challenge podcast gives us another lens to examine the situation, not just the original creator's behavior, but how the audience, the platform, the critic creator, and the marketplace all interact. It shows that tragedy and emotional content get amplified, analyzed, and packaged at multiple layers. Thanks for watching. What do you think about the case of Matt and Abby? Are they crossing a line, or simply doing what many creators do today? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos about the media, influence, and power online. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay kind, and remember, the story behind the screen matters.